Hello, so today I want to talk about Miss Janet Jackson. She is celebrating her birthday, so I thought it would be fun to do a different kind of video where I'm going over her film credits. So she hasn't been in that many films, I've realized, but I think she's been in 9 films. Now, I haven't seen all of her films. There's 4 Colored Girls and some other film. What is it? Jack Boys. I haven't seen those 2, but she is talented in acting as much as she is in music, but obviously we love her more for her music. So I'm just going to go over the film credits that I've seen because I have no intention of watching Jack Boys or 4 Colored Girls. All right, so that just leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, I think. Is it just 4? I guess so. I'm only seeing 4 that I've seen her in. Okay, so that's what we're doing. 4 Janet Jackson film roles.
Hello, my name is Tamika, and whether you stumbled upon Junkie for a Story or are here by intention, thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please give it a like and subscribe by the end, and don't forget to hit the bell for notifications so you won't miss out whenever I release new videos. And now, back to the video.
Okay, so the first one up. Okay, it's the series, Why Did I Get Married? 1, and then Why Did I Get Married 2? Now, I would say the first one, she was a bit timid, her character, in the first one. I remember they went on a skiing trip. So the premise of it is a group of married couples, they get together every year for an annual vacation. And on that vacation, they sort of are working on their marriages. So in the first one, I remember Jill Scott was the one who was in this abusive and tumultuous marriage. And I remember her character more, but then Tasha Smith, I can't remember the character's name, but the actress Tasha Smith, she was quite memorable in that role as well. But Janet Jackson's character, she was sort of I started to say mother bear, but no, so she had the counselor role of the group. I mean, she is I believe some type of therapist is what she played. So naturally she was the counselor of the group, but also she was kind of more of the one who would put on the facade of having everything together in her marriage, because she was, I believe, a marriage counselor. So she was always giving her friends advice about how to handle whatever difficulties they were going through in their marriages. And I don't think she got the best role in that one, or maybe she just didn't do as much with that role. But in the second one, the sequel, Why Did I Get Married 2? I keep wanting to say how. All right, so in the second one, they go to the Bahamas, right? Yeah, so they go to the Bahamas, and it's the same couples, but at this time, Jill Scott's character, she divorced her no-good husband and married the guy she met in the first film. But they're having that, well, they're having new marriage struggles. And then, let's see, so in this one, it focuses on primarily Jill Scott and her marriage, and Janet Jackson and Malik Yoba, their marriage. So again, Janet Jackson's character is putting on this facade that they've got it all together. They're the perfect couple that, her friends should aspire to be. And then her friends learn that things are not always what they seem. So I will say she does a much better job in this role. Yeah, I think she flexed those acting muscles in this movie. And I'm surprised that Tyler Perry got this performance out of her, because he wrote, as always, it's written, directed, produced by Tyler Perry. But I would say he got a really good performance out of her, which, I mean, the expectations are low with Tyler Perry, but so yeah, I think she did a great job in this one, especially that scene where her and Malik Yoba are in the living area of their home and he's drinking and then he just lashes out at her after, I guess, just being silent for so long and going along with whatever she wants to do. He finally he blows. He implodes on her. But that scene was quite intense. And both of them, I would say, did really well in that scene. But yeah, she did pretty good. Although it doesn't get the attention that, some other films get. So, and then you have Nutty Professor 2. So this is The Klumps that came out back in 2000. I didn't even realize it was that long ago, but okay, so this is with Eddie Murphy, and she plays Denise Gaines, a professor who works at the Wellman College with Sherman Klumps, who is also a professor, I believe, or some type of chemist. And so this, okay, so the opening scene, we see Sherman and Denise getting married. They're in a church about to take that step, right? And then we learned that it is a dream, okay? Or it was a dream, okay? And Sherman, he's having reservations about getting serious with Denise because she's this beautiful and intelligent woman, and he has low self-esteem, probably for shallow reasons, because it's more so about his looks. It's not so much about his other traits that he would bring to the relationship. So he's a little bit nervous about taking the next step with Denise because he feels like, well, she can do better. And so he's talking to his therapist about that. And then Denise, she hits him with this news that she got offered a job in, I believe, Maine or somewhere. It's basically in another state. She got offered another position with another, I think it was a university. And so they haven't even, they're not engaged. They're just dating. So she hits him with this news and he knows he's got to do something. Okay. Either you need to propose or you need to move on and let her go. Okay. So yeah, that's what's going on there. But as far as her character, so I was a little disappointed with this one. Okay. Yeah, I mean, and when I think of the first Klumps, whatever it was called, if it was just Nutty Professor or whatever, but the first one with Jada Pinkett Smith, her and Eddie Murphy were pretty good together. And I thought she had funny lines. But the sequel with Janet Jackson, I mean, so there was times where she would be in a scene with him and whoever. I mean, it didn't even matter. And well, for instance, there's the scene where they're all sitting at the dinner table and she's more there to spectate the comedy happening at the table. Okay. Like she literally doesn't say nothing for like 2 or so minutes. And then she finally says something and it's just a question. It's not even funny. Like I can't even call her you know how they say in comedy, you got the straight guy and whatever the other one is, the one who gets the laugh, you know? She's not even the straight guy in this. I mean, she's just dull and flat. And she would look more talented as an actress if the character was mute, you know? Like, if they were a mute person, then it would make sense. But let me just read some of the lines, okay? So you can know what I'm talking about. So some lines that Denise said was, "What's his problem? Sherman, who was that? Well, I am kind of hungry, but I'm not. It's going to be okay. I'll take care of you." Like, those are the kind of lines. And I don't know how much she got for that, but I'm just saying, that script could have used a script doctor, okay? Because clearly, I believe men wrote the script, and they clearly weren't considering her character when they were writing it. It just seems like a filler character. Like he needs to have a romance. So let's just throw her in, but we don't care what this looks like, okay? We don't care what the end result is. We just need him to have a love interest. Then the last one, well, obviously, probably everyone's favorite film role from Janet Jackson would be Poetic Justice. Now, I have seen this film innumerable times, okay? I mean, it's quite old now that I think about it. It's over 30 years. So, I've seen it a lot, okay? All right, so in Poetic Justice, this came out back in 93. Did it? Or somewhere around there. Did I put that? Yeah, 93. Okay. So she's playing she's playing Justice in this film with Tupac Shakur, and he's Lucky. So she witnesses her boyfriend, played by Q-Tip, from, I can't think of his group, but what's the name of his group? I can't think of the group. But anyway, Q-Tip. So she witnesses her boyfriend get gunned down in his car while they were making out in the back seat at a drive-in theater. She watches this happen, and obviously she is destroyed by this, and so she goes into a deep depression. And in the middle of her grief, her friend invites her on a road trip. The friend played by Regina King. So they join Lucky and his friend on a road trip to deliver some kind of postal run. And so the four of them go together. And her grieving gets interrupted by this new romance that is forming with Lucky. So they have some good chemistry together, I must say. They really had good chemistry together. And I liked their romance. I mean, it was slow and it was cute. And she was a bit reserved because she's still trying to get over her boyfriend, so she didn't want to move too fast, and she's still grieving his loss, but still, she can't help but act on the feelings she's building for Lucky. So in this role, I would say she did really good because she played a grieving young woman, and it was believable. And she was very quiet in this, and she would write in her journal, and she would write poetry, and she had a cat, and she kept to herself. So I think this role was the best one that she played because it was believable, but also the way she carried herself in this time in the character's life, it just made sense, everything she did. But we have not seen Janet Jackson in a role since, what? It's been 3 or 4 years since she's been in a film role, okay? I know she's done some, TV stuff, but it's time for her to come back with a movie, okay? And I know she got the documentary, and there was news about something she's doing with the documentary. I guess a second installment of that or something, even though she really didn't reveal much in the first one, but she's doing another one. But anyway, one role that we have not seen her in is a thriller role. So I remember when I was reading actress Geena Davis, her memoir, and she mentioned how actor Dustin Hoffman gave her the best advice when he told her that during downtime when she's filming, she should get into the habit of reading books. That way she can find good stories that she can acquire the rights to so she can create her own, roles that would be fulfilling, instead of waiting for somebody to call her with some script that she doesn't like. So I thought, let me do that for Janet. Let me give you some help, okay? Because I'm reading all the time, okay? And so I read a couple of books. Some of them are not so recent, but one of them is recent. Well, two of them, actually. But the first one would be, I'm going to put this right here. Okay, so the first one would be White Smoke by Tiffany D. Jackson. Now, this is a YA thriller, and Tiffany D. Jackson is becoming somewhat of a author for most YA thriller readers. She's quite popular, and she has a TV I don't know about film, but she has a TV screenwriting background. And so in this book, we follow Marigold, who is the teenager. She's one of 3 children, and she is experiencing some difficulties transitioning from living in, I believe they moved from California to Chicago or somewhere. Okay. I moved with California to the Midwestern city of Cedarville. Okay. I don't know where Cedarville is. It's been a year since I read this, but so they moved from California to Cedarville, and the transition, she's a teenager, and so it's a little rocky. She's missing her best friend, and there was an incident that happened at the old school, which was also attributed to why it was best to leave. So yeah, she's going through that. But the mother in this story, she was offered a job that came with a residence. And this residence it's in sort of a dilapidated community that's like they're trying to rebuild this community. It's one of those that is going through the gentrification process. And so there's not that many neighbors, and it's kind of a scarce community that's on the outside. It just looks like, does anybody live there? It's one of those where you're not even sure, right? It's just kind of a creepy home that they move into, and some inexplicable things start happening in the home. And Marigold, she loves her brother, I remember in this book, but her younger sister is the typical tattleteller, But I feel like Janet Jackson can play the mother in this role, because I think she was, what was the mother's profession? I can't remember if she was I can't remember what the mother did, but it says she gets this new job with the Sterling Foundation, which comes with a free house, one that Mari now has to share with her bratty 10-year-old stepsister, Piper. Okay, so yeah, Janet, this will be a role for you, okay, because it's thrillerish, but it's not too scary, So yeah, you can dip your toe in the thriller pool, okay? And it's one of those where I didn't like it at first, but I think I might reread this because I kind of was harsh with my opinions about the story at first. But now that time has passed, I'm thinking maybe it is better than I initially thought it was. So yeah, I'm planning to reread it. I wouldn't recommend it yet, but and it's such a pretty cover. I mean, that's why I got it. But yeah, I might have to give this a reread. But I think for TV or film, because you can actually see, you have that aspect of the visual, I think it would make a better story in a film aspect. And that might be what's kind of limiting my enjoyment of the story in the first place. Because certain things didn't come across as all that scary, I guess because the words weren't quite visual enough. So anyway, there's that. But then there is, now this one I just read like a week or so ago, Pretty Dead Queens by Alexa Donne. And in this book, we follow Celeste, or I already forgot her name. Cecilia. Okay. Cecilia Ellis. So she is another high schooler who recently lost her mom to cancer. So she is sent to live with her grandmother, who is this big time thriller author. And she enrolls in the school there. And she transitions. I think she transitions into the new school fine. It's not like so difficult for her. And I guess because her grandmother is the popular author and everyone reveres her grandmother. So it's not that tough for her. But then there's this murder that happened in the past. A prom queen was murdered years ago, but that murder was solved, but she, Cecilia, I keep calling her Celeste. Cecilia is looking into that old murder. She's just curious about it. And then another murder takes place with another prom queen or homecoming queen. So this murder in current day takes place, and it just makes it's similar to the old murder, and that's why Cecilia is looking at both murders, and she's kind of playing an amateur sleuth in this to get to the bottom of it, to find out if there is any relation to the two murders, if they have a serial killer still in the area, because it's also kind of like a small town. Well, not kind of, it is a small town. Like, everybody knows everybody, everyone is related to each other, and it's one of those towns. So in this story, if it were to be adapted into a film, yeah, I could see Miss Jackson pulling off the thriller author in this film, because, well, she would have to age the character down, but we know that's what they do, right? I do remember actress Nia Long, she was talking about how she would get scripts and they're always written for white women, and so she would have to, make those changes so that it suits her. And so, yeah, you would have to do some changes to make this suit you. Because she's white, but she's also, it sounds like she's like, I'm thinking, well, maybe she's 50-ish or 60-ish, but obviously you can do whatever with the age. But Janet, even though she is in her 50s, she doesn't look her age. So, anyway, do what you do. But yeah, I think that would be fun to play a thriller author. And she is an interesting character. I'm not going to tell you what happens in the story, but she's interesting. Okay, and then the last one, I don't have a copy of it because I listened to the audiobook through my library. So, oh wait, what is the author's name? That one is by Katie Gutierrez. Yes, More Than You'll Ever Know. Okay, so this one, we follow two women who, one is a writer, I believe, and then the other is a woman that the writer, she's the subject of the article that the writer is writing about. So this older woman, it was found out that she was married to two men at the same time. And the writer is delving into that woman's life and how that came to be, how she came to be married to two men. And a certain situation happens with one of the husbands. And so the secret of this woman being married to both husbands at the same time, that is revealed because of what happens to the husband. So in this role, I believe it was dual timelines, because you're going into the past, which was, it sounded like the 80s, and then it's current day as well. And both women, there are parallels to their lives as far as the domestic part of their lives. But the wife was married to the two different men. One of them, she got married in a Spanish country. I can't remember which country, but yeah. So I'm not sure if she was Spanish or not, but I believe the character was Spanish. So obviously we'll make some changes there for Janet Jackson, right? But yeah, you can make those changes. So I'm just giving you a couple of options, okay? Because I know you're watching. So, but anyway, yeah, I just wanted to put it out there. We haven't seen you in a film in a while, so yeah, what's up? What's going on? We missed you.
There are links in the description box for the 3 books mentioned in this video.
But yeah, I'm going to wrap this up. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and give me a like, comment, subscribe if you choose, and let me know which one of her films, Miss Jackson, did you enjoy most. Obviously for me, it's going to be Poetic Justice, probably for most people. But as far as the TV roles, I thought the Will and Grace episode was really fun. So yeah, there's that. I'm trying to think of her other, I can't think of her other TV roles. I mean, I know there was Good Times, but you know how Good Times was, okay? I mean, it was always a struggle, okay? In the neighborhood. But anyway, let me get out of here. Okay, so thank you for watching and listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.